Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bandit, and whether you're a part of a pirate cosplay, a finger wagger, or nudist, I welcome you all the same. Today we continue the series of disassembling every beloved Survivor cast and building them back up from scratch. Let's go. Firstly, let's talk about winners. The original All-Star season featured Richard Hatch from Season 1, Tina Wesson from Season 2, Ethan from Season 3, and Jenna, not stripping naked for peanut butter this time, from Season 6. Again, to reiterate, they were winners and by no means were absolutely targeted for it. No, by nobody at all. But three were noticeably absent in Vesapia, Brian and Sandra, so I kicked off the cast adding them. Now I acknowledge these individuals will likely make the same anti-winner sentiment All-Stars 1.0 featured, but even if they only last a few episodes, they'll be so much fun. It'll be great seeing Vesapia and Heidek play with both their games out in the open, and we all know Sandra is a confessional beast that can play well in spite of being a past winner. Logistically, it's difficult to cast Sandra though, as the All-Star cast only saw half of the Pearl Islands, resulting in Sandra's win being unknown to them. So in this hypothetical cast, production may have to inform them of Sandra's win. Plus, you have three very unique winners. Vesapia, that talks about social issues and speaks very eloquently, Brian, who essentially is a game bot, and Sandra, who has zero filter. It's perfect. In spite of missing 3 of the final 4, I still managed to cast 3 people from Borneo, because it's the original season. You need a good amount of representation. I've been bashed on this casting choice before, but I still stand by it on an all-star cast, especially considering I can't cast Hatch. You need the original runner-up, Kelly Wigglesworth.
Go back to a couple times Jeff said to you, what goes around comes around. It's here. You will not get my vote. My vote will go to Richard. And I hope that is the one vote that makes you lose the money. To let it be in the end the way Mother Nature intended it to be. For the snake to eat the rat.
The winner of the first Survivor competition is Rich. Congratulations, Rich.
On Kelly's return in Cambodia, she was largely forgettable, with very little personality, but her legacy is so strong, it's hard to pass up. Plus, this is All-Stars, 11 years before Cambodia. She at least will have spent less time removed from the game at this point, and through her youth, still can be an enjoyable presence. Then we need Colleen, the original Survivor sweetheart, who is notorious for being the last standing of the Pagong tribe. The tribe that got decimated coming into the merge. She was beloved by the public, was incredibly charming and funny too. Plus, she was on Season 1, where concepts like alliances weren't fully realised. So on the return, acknowledging the game for what it is, she could achieve far more. Then we've got to have Jervis, the original Survivor villain. While some of the things he said that season were dumb and haven't particularly aged well, like the cow comment, it's hard to deny he's a household name. Unlike Kelly, whose return was underwhelming, Jervis also returned for Blood vs. Water almost 10 years after All-Stars filmed and still showed he could play the game hard while providing fun villainous moments. The latter is especially important, as All-Star seasons are particularly known for being game body, so someone that's willing to have fun and be evil juxtaposes this. Then we have Season 2, which is problematic. All-Stars got pretty much all the returnees you could want. Tina and Colby, the winner and runner-up, a great villain in Jerry, someone who had an iconic quotable line in Alicia, and Amber, who ends up winning Season 8. This leaves 5 people that made merge I can pick. In the end, I selected 2 of them, A shame considering the Australian Outback is the season most viewed, but sometimes that's how the turntables. Firstly, someone who is highly speculated to have been replaced by Amber is Elizabeth. So I replaced Amber with Elizabeth. Like Colleen, she was the last standing of her alliance, but also had a really heartwarming father-daughter relationship with Roger, to the point he gave up his game so she could make it further. It's theorised, had Scupa not fallen in the fire, that Elizabeth could have made it even further than her original run, and would have beaten Roger had he fallen on the sword for her, which is likely. For her great potential on the return, and the fact she is strong Season 2 representation, she joins the cast. Also on Season 2, I included an early boot. Not a pre-merger, I haven't casted any of those, but someone, like the infamous Boston Rob, that made the merge but not the jury. It's Jeff Varner. Now I know, modern day Varner is very controversial, but this big moment happened in Game Changers, 13 years before All Stars. And outside of that moment, I think people forget how funny he is as a character. In Cambodia he was casted and gave some fantastic confessionals.
Shireen's talking a mile a minute. This train took off and I'm glad I'm on it. I just got on it. I don't care who's pulling me in the woods. Yes is your answer. And you know, a train will only go as fast as its conductor will take it. And she's hit the gas. What just bit my ass?
Plus, if the reason he was casted was due to him making an iconic mistake in stepping down for apples and peanut butter for season 31, imagine how memorable of a moment that would have been for the fans with far less time between appearances. Now on to Africa, a really underrated season in my opinion. And on the topic of underrated, this segues nicely into my first pick, T-Bird. With Kathy ineligible to be on this cast, Teresa offers the older lady that is strategically savvy. In season 3 she had a pretty raw deal, as after the first tribal, she was perpetually on the bottom from her original tribe to swap tribe, and came into the merge down in the numbers 6-4. Even in spite of this, she was the last standing of her original tribe, and almost managed to flip the game at the final 5. Plus, you just know T-Bird would be itching to return to the show and play hard, as even nowadays she's very involved in the community and has many podcasts talking with T-Bird. I also added Kelly Goldsmith to the cast, who was unfairly accused of voting Lex and was witch hunted because of this. That being said, I do find it remarkable that at such an early stage of the game's lifespan, Kelly was willing to flip on her previous ally Lex, rather than die by her original tribe mates, something many in other seasons before her had done. But she was very witty, had no filter, and could have added to her potential on an all-star season. Finally, I added yet another pre-merge boot, this time in Clarence. Now I'll be honest, I love Clarence. Although he had little screen time in Africa due to his early exit, he still had lots of fun memorable moments, such as his feud with the chickens. Plus, I'll be honest, he was shafted in season 3, with people reacting over the top to some of his actions. His story has all the makings of a redemption arc, so let's see him return. Now on to Marquesas. If Boston Rob is anything to go by, this season's players have a lot of potential, and it was clear from the more aggressive gameplay to several flips that occurred this season that the gameplay shown by the contestants had evolved. We've already covered Vesapia, but I also added Sean. Now some may say Sean and Vesapia have very similar stories due to the fact they were aligned throughout the entire game. But I feel Sean is more of a light-hearted villain that will make fun of you in confessionals before giving you the boot, contrasting with Vesapia, who is cold and calculated.
Checkmate, bruh. Thought you had me. So anytime you go to Vegas, bet on black. But we definitely gonna have chicken and waffles when this whole thing is done.
It's really a surprise to have not seen Sean return for All Stars, as you would have thought production would have been itching to get him onto the cast. Like, he was part of 2 massive blindsides on Hunter and John, whilst being a major fan favourite. The next pick is more controversial, especially because she essentially took Nalea's spot, and that's Tammy. While I did cast Nalia in my Game Changers video, we have to remember Nalia would have done a lot of growing in those 15 years, resulting in an interesting storyline. But All Stars is only 2 years after Marquesas. Therefore, I believe we'll roughly get the same from Nalia, who, even herself stated, didn't begin playing the game until 2/3 of the way through. Contrast this with Tammy, who, I'll be honest, would be my winner pick on a cast like this. While she doesn't have a standout moment per se, the girl is a triple threat with sound strategy, extremely impressive social credentials, and could win challenges. Had the Road to 4 not been dismantled, we could have seen her being the winner of Season 4. Finally, we've got to cast him. It's John Carroll. He was the figurehead of the strong Road to Alliance that was blindsided in a narrow elimination by literally everybody not in his core alliance. On top of this, he also called the shots pre-merge by eliminating those not loyal to him, like Gabe, and besides Russell, has given Boston Rob the biggest beatdown in his Survivor career. Let's just hope on Season 8 he doesn't get stung by a sea urchin. I found that scene rather uncomfortable.
I need somebody who can pee on my hand. Somebody can pee? Somebody have to go to the bathroom?
I didn't even think of it being weird that she was squatting down and I had my hand between her legs. Let's see, you had to go to the bathroom.
Thailand had only one person to represent it in Xi'an. It was clear this was the weakest of the casts and seasons they had made, with the season being extremely dark and very few individuals were rootable. One of these individuals that brought light to the season, however, was Ken. I really liked him in Season 5. Despite Jake being the official leader of the tribe, it was clear Ken was the figurehead by taking control at the auction and was in a swing position at several tribal councils. Really, Ken was at the centre of everything. Moreover, there's a storyline of him overcoming the awful production twist, where he came into the official merge down in numbers that could set up his arc on the return. If those two reasons don't work, then just remember he's a cop. Individuals with jobs that belong to the police or armed forces are featured strongly on returnee seasons. After this we have the Amazon, and although I can't cast Jenna, I can cast the other runner-up in Matthew. Now Matthew by far is the most unique individual on this cast, as he was a social pariah on his original male tribe in the Amazon, and had some rather creepy moments.
Is anybody else disturbed by the fact that Matthew is concentrating so hard on this?
Yeah, are you gonna butcher us all there?
He sits and sharpens his machete for an hour at a time. Why does he need the machete so sharp? I think he's gonna kill us.
Moreover, with Rob off the cast, Matthew could be his protege, someone who plays the game hard after learning from Rob in his original season, just without the threat level coming into the All-Star season. It's perfect. Without Jenna, it really opens up this player, and that of course is Heidi. Jenna, but without the winner stamp. However, to be honest, considering how All-Stars plays out with Jenna's mother and all, I think Heidi would have made a better fit, as on her original season, she was considered to be a klutz. This offers her the perfect opportunity to capitalize on people that underestimate her in the game. And it'd be fun to see her show what she's learned from the first time she's played. Finally, it's the last season before All-Stars, the Pearl Islands. Now this player did massively crank up their game coming into the merge, that the cast wouldn't have seen, but he still had some fun pre-merge antics, and that's Johnny Fairplay. Even with Rob Sesternino, I would have liked to see him on All-Stars, but without Rob being on this cast, it opens the door for a hyper-strategic villain like Fairplay to join the cast. Where do I even begin with him? He pissed off a pirate, voted on the astrological signs man, and of course had the iconic fake Grand Malai, making the fans either hate him or respect him for pulling off such a move. Either way, his presence was memorable. But thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below what your cast would be if you couldn't use the original cast. Here's my cast in all its glory. Let me know how I did. But have a great day, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, peace!